And so there's a little more Cooper flag. Show me the Pacers and Knicks here. Let's go to the Garden. It was the game of the night. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks hosting the Pacers. Picking up a minute and a half to go in the fourth quarter. Knicks are down by 4, and here comes Jalen Brunson. Making a move, driving to the hole.
Wow.
Yes, plus the foul. Knicks are down by 1. 18 seconds left. Same score. Pascal Siakam. Money. He had 30. Pacers up by 3. 5 seconds left. Knicks down by 2. Inbounding under their own basket. Here we come. Landry Shamet for the win. It's no good, but watch underneath. You tell me. Aaron Nesmith jumping over the back of Karl Anthony Towns. They call it a foul, and Towns will shoot 2. Is that the right call? To the line he goes. He would make the first. This one for the tie. And it's good. 22 points. 14 rebounds. We're going to overtime, tied at 124. Minute and a half left in the OT. Pacers up by 4. Siakam, Quentin Jackson. Yes. Pacers up by 7. Halliburton loves it. 10 seconds left in the OT. Knicks down 4. Brunson. He had 40 points in this game. Another clutch 3 to bring the Knicks within 1. And so now we fast forward. We got 1 second left in overtime. Knicks down by 3. The Pacers intentionally foul Shamet to send him to the line. He makes a complete mess of it, misses the first. The second one he misses intentionally, doesn't hit the rim. And that's how it ends. Pacers win it 137-134 in a wild game that featured 39 lead changes, most in a game this year, 5th most in any game since at least the 97-98 season. And so, Monica McNutt and Brian Windhorst with us all morning long. And McNutt, you know this Knicks team well, and it's because you do the games for them on the radio. It's confounding. Just in the last week alone, they get blown out by Detroit, and then they play a very impressive game against Boston. And now they lose to a bad Indiana team. So what do we say about where these Knicks sit here going into the All-Star break?
Well, overall, Greeny, if you zoom out and you look at winning 9 out of 11, I mean, I think they're in a good spot. They're obviously in Philadelphia tonight to finish out before they head into the All-Star break. The thing that has happened over this stretch, though, is that largely, outside of versus Detroit and the performance last night, this defense has taken a major step forward, and that is going to be the key. For the majority of the season, even when they were stinking up the joint to start the calendar year, this offense still has been relatively respected and inside at least that top 10 in terms of offensive rating. It's really been about them growing defensively, which they've done over this stretch. Last night, though, I will say, Indiana, you got to give them their credit. They pulled out the stops. It felt as if they had that one circled in terms of the rivalry of it all versus the New York Knicks. They played fast. They were aggressive. The Knicks defense flat out took the night off, and I was actually surprised that they were able to get it to overtime because Indiana shot the 3-ball outstanding at the Garden last night.
So, Wendy, I'm going to let you pick up with something that you sort of started at the beginning of the show today about just how wide open you see the top of this Eastern Conference being.
Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Detroit. I can make a case for all of them winning. I can make a case for all of them getting knocked out. Maybe not the first round, but certainly the second round. And I'm sure the Toronto fans are like, why aren't you including us? The East has not been this wide open in forever. Part of the reason why it's this wide open is all of these teams are strong with the ability to get stronger. If you look at Cleveland picking up James Harden, you look at Boston with potentially bringing back Jason Tatum, but all of them have flaws. And this is sometimes you see from the Knicks, they have inconsistencies in their way they're able to do execution. And, Monica is right. Their defense has absolutely improved. But, we have gotten to this All-Star break many times, and I have really felt that there is maybe 3 or 4 teams that can win the entire thing. I can make a case for 8 teams, or 3 teams in the West and 5 in the East to get to the finals. That's 8 teams. I actually think we're in this very unusual situation where we've got, a third of the league tanking and, maybe about a fourth of the league that I think could win the whole thing. So I think we're actually headed for a lot of excitement. And when you talk to scouts and head coaches and executives, they actually believe that the Knicks have the best team. I've repeatedly had people tell me that, but none of them would say they're absolutely even going to make the conference finals, much less the finals.
Because it is so wide open and equal. I agree with all that, Monica. And to me, the X factor remains the Celtics, because if and when they get Jason Tatum back, and then if and when he starts to look like Jason Tatum again, and then if and when they develop the chemistry that they would need, it would seem to me no team is going to get a bigger boost than that. But that's a lot of ifs and when. So what is your sense of what role they play in this?
Greeny, I would agree with you on the assessment of the Celtics, and largely, and I'll echo what Perkins said all week. There was no expectation for them this year, right? Like internally, yes, they have a fire that burns deeply, and they want to win and compete, which is why they're in the position without Jason Tatum. But there was no real expectation or pressure on them, and so you add the fact that they are playing with house money. I would agree with you, but just like Wendy said, we could also argue that if James Harden takes the lead with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have that opportunity. And Wendy didn't mention the Raptors, but quietly, they've been one of the better defensive units. I think they might be the best defensive unit defensively in the Eastern Conference over this run as well. So the Jason Tatum piece is definitely going to be fascinating. Will he return at the near, 29 and 9 or 8 rebounds that he was at last year? I'm not 100% sure, but can he be productive? He's not going to come back if he can't be productive.
Wendy, put the punctuation for it. What's the final thought?
Yeah, so Jason Tatum is probably the biggest story going in the Eastern Conference right now. He practiced with the G League team on Monday. He is obviously taking steps. That being said, he is not ready to play in the next few days. It is going to be more steps.
Right.
But remember, he doesn't have to be at his best in March. He needs to be contributing to them in April, May. And I think that's on the table. And what happens there could end up determining the whole Eastern Conference.
Yeah, that to me is the biggest X factor. In all of it, short of that, I agree with Wendy. It's as wide open as it could possibly be. And tonight, our doubleheader.
Welcome to Run It Back, Lou Will. Chandler Parsons is back.
Hello, everybody.
You only missed the most important week of the year. We missed you, buddy.
How was the deadline? Any big moves?
Nothing happened. You're
right.
fine. Yeah, you missed
I
nothing.
had no Wi-Fi. I had nothing.
He was just camping off the grid.
Gosh.
But that's all right because you are back in time for the All-Star festivities. So we got that going for us. But that's not real genuine. But we do have some games. We're still a few more games to go here before things kick off. What in the world is this about? This is not the kind of win that the Knicks should be allowing the other team to have, but that's exactly what happened. Pacers winning in overtime in the Garden. Pascal Siakam finished with 30.6 rebounds, 3 steals. Jalen Brunson, by the way, despite the that's awesome, had 40 points. This, again, if that guy that was just in street clothes had been on the floor, yeah, that's like the super cool game, Eastern Conference Finals, Chandler. But this Pacers team is just losing, and I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, I've learned to not overreact in the league when there's a loss like this, and there's a lot of history here and legendary battles, and these are tales of two different teams right now, right? This is a hot New York team that's, I think, won 8 out of the last 10 against an Indiana Pacers team who's been struggling all season long. They're like the worst road team in the NBA. I think they have 3 road wins all year long, but listen, no matter who's in the game for them, they're still well coached. They're still going to play hard. They're still going to be a tough out. When you have Carlisle, putting them in situations with that kind of impactful offense, they play fast. They got a lot of help on the way. This is a team right now with the Pacers where I'm super excited for them next year. I love the moves that they made. And I think
they did a lot for the future.
Yeah, they're going to be right back in the situation
I would
they were.
put a dollar on it now.
Yeah, this last year, I think it was kind of over exceeded expectations. Next year, I think they're going to have real expectations with the additions that they made at the deadline. But this game was awesome. Listen, it was highly competitive. There's a rivalry here a little bit with the history of them. There's 39 lead changes in this game, like most, I think, all season long. So this was a very, very fun game back and forth. And yeah, it was a bad loss for the Knicks, but things like this happen when you have a long season like this.
Do you want to overreact, Lou? Because here's why I'm going to ask you that. because they are in this big race with the Pistons in the Eastern Conference, and we're about to get, I would assume today, the suspension notification on who's leaving the Pistons for a few
Probably
games.
before we get out of here today.
That's what I'm thinking. I know I got my phone notifications on.
Are we going to predict that at all? Is that or no?
So we predicted yesterday, what was 25?
No, Boogie said 25. I said 10.
No chance. 10,
Well,
I think.
25 for Stewart because of the bench and the.
That's where the 10 comes in.
I think it's like 8 or 10 games for him.
However, we haven't had a situation where somebody's left the bench in quite some time and actually got active. So
with the packs on his still in his knees.
He might be an example.
The towels falling
he might look at 10 to 15 games. 20, 25 is a stretch.
I have a question. Like Jalen Durant obviously was very much involved in it.
Yes.
Sorry, we're getting off topic here.
No, it's
if he gets suspended, does he get suspended for the All-Star game too?
I don't think the All-Star game counts.
No.
That would be.
No, that would be silly.
Yeah, that don't count.
But it is a funny look to be like, well, I can't play in the next 2 games.
I can't play the next 2 games, but I'm available All-Star weekend.
So it is awkward timing. I'm not going to lie to you about that. All I ask, Lou, is given where the Knicks are and what they're fighting for, this just feels like if I'm going to weigh losses, this feels heavier than some.
No, this is basketball. Everybody's pros at the end of the day. Nobody's went undefeated, and no team has ever went winless, right? So every team has enough talent to win on any given night, especially in the NBA. And also another thing we got to look at, that was the last game for the Knicks until next week.
Nice.
They've started their break already.
Yeah, they're gone.
They've started their break already. And be clear, they competed. Right? They lost in overtime, shot the ball poorly in the fourth quarter, didn't get a score until late into that overtime game. It's not like they just laid down and they allowed Indiana to have, they did Indiana some favors by the way that they played late into this basketball game, but they competed. It's hard to say that this is the worst loss of the season when you got one guy with his 7 triple-double and you got one of your more clutch players having a 40 ball. And so, again, those guys competed. Any given night in the NBA, somebody can win a basketball game, but them going into the break right now, I've always talked about you want to go into the break feeling good about where you are, with some confidence, with some momentum your way. This is a black eye going into a long break because you can't get your lick back at least for a week. So not the worst of the season, but I mean you can count it as a bad one.
I'd like them to look up our career winning record
going into the
All-Star weekend.
That would be awesome.
And see how, because I don't think mine was very good.
I would think mine is great because that was always a point of emphasis for me in teams that I was on. Like, listen, I want to feel good about my break.
I was already mentally in Cabo. I remember I had one bad one where Gordon Hayward game winnered me the game before, but I can't imagine the record's good. Please look that up, Lisa.
No, she's not going to look that up.
I'd like
By
to
the
know.
way, I'm going to cough in like the next 5 minutes.
That's okay.
It's going to be hard to talk. Zubac, you weren't here, so the Zubac was one of the big trades, him going to Indy, which is why people are very excited about whatever they're going to look like next year. And he even said, he didn't play last night, but he even said, I'm so excited to play with a point guard like Tyrese. So what do you think? Like, what does he look like on this team?
I think it's a great opportunity for him, and I like the move for both franchises there. I like the Clippers getting younger, getting better.
Get it all out. You got a lot of catching up to do. Get everything out. You got a lot of catching up to do.
I like the fact that the Clippers got younger and got their guard going forward with Garland. He has nothing to worry about sharing the ball with Donovan Mitchell, James, none of that. It is basically his show. He knows how to play with good players like Kawhi Leonard, and they got younger with him and Matherin. So I like it for the Clippers. The Zubats I like a lot for Indiana because, again, he is going to play with that pass-first, old-school type point guard. The way they play, as fast as they play, as many threes they play, there's going to be so many opportunities on the offensive glass for Zubats. So I think Carlisle's going to have fun kind of switching up how they play and their style, but I think they're going to play the same pace, and he's going to be a huge force just on the offensive glass. He already does it now on a team that doesn't play as fast or as quick or shoot as many threes. So I think he's going to have a huge impact on the Pacers, and again, we're looking way far ahead.
No, it's fine.
They're going to be a really good team next year.
They're going to be good. I think we already thought that without this trade, because when Tyrese Halliburton comes back, we expect them to be the team that we saw just last season, in the finals. We had another game last night. I guess everyone's afraid.
And this is Zoo's first time being out of LA, too.